Wild Flow Records and independent Appalachian singer-songwriter Anthony W. Rogers announced the release of Rogers' fifth solo album, High Five. Recorded independently in the West Virginia hills, High Five features Rogers on a multitude of instruments and vocals on 10 new original tracks. Longtime collaborator multi-instrumentalist and vocalist Bart Lay, saxophonist Rich Nord, and percussionist Steve here are back. Also there are contributions from his two children Blake and Joe Rogers, and his family friend and Indian royalty, violinist Sajed Bodine. This album was recorded over the past 2 years and followed up the last 2021 release under the alias Baby Flow, Oblivious. We want to thank you, our listeners, for your support in making this podcast possible. Blue Buddha Productions is listener funded, and your contributions allow us to continue bringing you remarkable content like this. If you would like to support us, you can donate through PayPal at elliot.bluebuddhaproductions@gmail.com. Remember, there is only one L and one T in Elliot. Your generosity helps us create more transformative experiences for you to enjoy. Thank you for being a part of our journey. Now, let's immerse ourselves in the extraordinary world of the Zoom sessions with your host Eliot Goldstein, brought to you by Blue Buddha Productions.
Well, first of all, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much. I don't do these very often. In fact, this is the first one Billy's arranged for me. I've done a few locally, back in the day, and I did someone in DC back in the 80s and stuff when I played, but then this is the first one in a while. So
you're an East Coaster too.
I am completely.
Yeah, me too. I'm in New Mexico now, but I'm a New Yorker.
Wow, nice. Well, I married a girl from Brooklyn. I married a girl from Sheepshead Bay. So
really?
my Lisa, yeah, she did the cover. She took the picture and the cover, and then she did the illustrative on the inner ones. She on the last couple albums, she did a beautiful cover for our last one, Baby Flow, which I'll have to, if you don't have, I'll have to send it to you.
Please do.
It was done during the COVID years and had some funny commercials about some of the COVID stuff. It's neat.
Yeah, because I'm from Flatbush.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I've been down there a bunch. Yeah.
Yeah, I was born in that area, and yeah, I used to manage the Middlelands, part of the Middlelands.
Yes, indeed, and one of the biggies.
Yeah, Giant Stadium. I was part of that management team.
God, wow, yeah, big job.
Yeah, so that's what I did. I used to run stadiums, arenas, and things like that.
Oh, gee.
Yeah. So anyway, they're calling it eclectic pop music. What do you call it?
I don't know. I've been doing stuff. The one thing is, I've just kind of had this inkling to write. I don't have time or the organization at this time or finances really to go out and put forth any kind of elaborate live thing.
Right.
But I do enjoy. I'm halfway through the next project that I'm doing now, which is going to kind of be a renaissance about my hometown and some of it mythological and such. But yeah, it's I don't know. I just think it's just what I make up. Sometimes I'm doing different things. I just did something I thought that today that I thought sounded a little bit like craft work. Some of the samples, like I kind of like that on that new Sparks record. They have a song I think that's the new single that kind of sounds somewhat.
Yeah. What the?
Yeah.
Hang on 1 second. Alexa, off. Yeah, don't cry in my latte.
That's right. I just got that. I'm a big fan. I like it. I'm going to go see him actually Friday.
Really?
Friday down at the Lincoln. Yeah, me and a friend are going to go down and take the metro up because it's right across the street from it. You can get in and get off real quick. So it's real convenient.
I'm jealous. They're not coming around here.
Yeah. I didn't get to see him last time, so he said he got me a ticket this time, and we VIP'd it. So I'm actually in the second row, so I'm kind of excited.
Really?
I can't wait to
take pictures.
I can't wait to see the Ron dance.
Well. Listening to the album.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I could ask you a ton of, questions that don't mean anything, but I want to really get into the meat and bones of this thing, because I'll tell you what I heard. I heard some Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Zappa. It was, and Beach Boys.
Yeah, I definitely Brian Wilson.
Yeah.
I think it goes Brian and Todd too. I kind of got through Brian through Todd. So I discovered Brian, and then once I got to Brian, I'm like, oh my God. And that era, I think from 64 or 5 through about 71, I don't think it's vocally, and I mean, people, if you really don't know that era well, that's when you get out of the car songs and the beach songs, and you get into Pet Sounds, Beach Boys Today, actually, the
Yeah,
second, some
yeah.
of those songs are just,
Smile.
oh, Smile. Yeah, I had almost every damn Smile bootleg there was.
Yeah, me too. I know, I know, I
I
know. I
love
have.
that stuff.
I must have 20 albums of Smile, different,
Yeah,
different mixes and an off mix and an out of
yeah,
phase mix. But yeah, that's
yeah,
great. So, but I
yeah.
do hear the Beach Boys in there, and again, especially Frog Eyes.
Oh yeah.
I hear it's kind of like Crosby, Stills and Nash with Brian Wilson, but you threw a Zappa zinger in there somewhere. It's
Yeah,
like,
I think it was a shift. It's a kind of a combination of two different things. I had this. What happened was I started off as kind of a folky, well, I guess what you would identify as a Crosby, Stills, Nash thing. It started like that, and I just thought it was a little bit too much, that way. So then I really had this dream, and I forget I was taking some kind of medicine. So normally I don't have a dream, but I remembered the dream, and it was so weird. It was like I was like working with aluminum cabinetry and thinking about somehow I'm thinking about how futile it is to even worry about what happens, to you outside yourself. That it's just better just to handle it,
sure.
than to go about all the other games that were. And I don't know if that was a side effect or whatever I was taking for my cold, but
What medicine is that? I'd like to get some.
I don't remember what it was. Some
Did
kind of
you
NyQuil thing.
did you need
I think.
did you need a prescription for that or a phone number
No, it was.
or a
I think it
phone
was.
number?
It was over the counter. No,
There you
no,
go.
no.
Okay. Yeah, try to find out because I could use some new dreams.
That's
Um,
good.
but the album is really, really very, very interesting album. Now they
Well,
call
thank
you why do they call you an Appalachian singer-songwriter? What's your
Well,
roots?
because that's where I'm from. I mean, I'm from out here now, and I've been out here for many years. What happened was originally how it started. I started out here. I guess the closest area you'd call that would be close to a city would be Cumberland, Maryland area. I live in a place named Kaiser, West Virginia, which incidentally is a home of Donnie Marple. And if you don't know who Donnie Marple is, you
Oh
should look
yeah,
it up on the internet. He's as a
sure.
drummer. He's pretty interesting. There's a lot of drummers for some reason here, and I started off as a drummer. My father was a drummer, a big band drummer, and I started off playing. I was playing in bars at the time I was 16. Taking over the vocals. I could do pretty good Mick Jagger, and so we went
Yeah.
through a whole bunch of all that stuff, and then I started writing my own stuff. I got together with this guy, Mike Hounshaw, from Frostburg, who's actually Numero released his record about 2 years ago, and I think he's starting now to trying to license at least the now stuff. And that was a band I was in with him. We were kind of, I don't know, popish, maybe you want to say Journey-ish. I don't like Journey, but it was kind of a prog rock thing. I was more in the Zappa thing, and they were. So I kind of injected the odd beats and things as the drummer. So that's kind of how I started off. But originally I played piano, and I picked up guitar along the way and was writing. And so, when we went to DC, and then I kind of took over the band at that time. I dropped playing drums and went out front, and then I joined the Now, and got back and played drums for them. We did okay, and I started recording with Chris Biondo and played with Eva Cassidy, and it's
Wow.
kind of a different thing. But I know those guys. A lot of those guys that hung around Chuck's, Chris's place down there in Anacostia and stuff were hip hop guys like Chuck Brown and such. I mean, I was down there when they were recording that record, Chuck and Eva, and I was managing a record store in DC at the time. We sold the crap out of that stuff, and
Yeah.
some of the stuff was funny. The other day, I remembered a song that was really big was about crack called "Beam Me Up, Scotty," and I remember we sold must have in the first day of that at the Wiz downtown. I mean, we were blowing them out by the buck. So everybody was buying 2 or 3 12 inches. 12 inches, just it was a whole different world there. I worked in Rockville. I managed a Rockville store, with all the rock stuff and alternative stuff and that. But when you got downtown, you saw the quantity of music the quantity of urban music that was sold. And,
Wow.
even MOR stuff like Anita Baker and some of those singers that you wouldn't think twice about out in suburbs, they really did pretty big numbers there in the city. So I worked for them, and I kind of juggled playing at the same time in DC. And then at some point, I went to law school, and I just got involved. I got involved in real estate. Today, it's got nothing to do with music, but I got involved in a real estate course while I was recording my record, and with Chris Biondo, my first record, Identification, which I did pretty much myself at his place. I had a few people help me with, but it was Chris and I at his old studio called Black Pond there in Rockville.
Okay.
And we did that in 1991, and then I went to law school, and it wasn't until I got back that I wrote the entire time, and I had been writing, and I was actually playing some a little bit in law school, but kind of incidentally, but I was recording the whole time, actually back at Chris, some of the stuff. And so then when I got back, I finally decided. Then my father, who was kind of influential in my life musically, he passed, and I set up my practice here, and I did really well, and I was doing good, but I was playing the whole time and itching to play. Didn't want to play out in the bars because, truthfully, around here, to play your own stuff would not be. I'd done that before, and I just felt like it's not worth the effort, really. I mean, for me to go out and play the Doobie Brothers or something like that, I just don't want to do that. I even if I did do a sarcastic version, which we used to do sometime, I have some tapes of to play when he's done.
Yeah.
We played one of these places over at Romney. We played "Make the World Go Away" by Eddie Arnold for about 45 minutes. We started to count in something else, and we make again. Here we go again. Make the world go.
Yeah.
And by the time it was done, people were one of the guys. We got a recording of it from the audience. Like grabbed the mic out of stuff and started it was just complete chaos.
Wow.
Yeah, it was fun. It's hillbilly mayhem out here, and I've had big doses of that. But anyway, that's after I came back. I haven't really been playing, but I started recording again in 2008, and been rolling ever since then.
So are you still doing your law thing?
I am. I'm doing my law thing, and I have a law practice with my partner Bruce Kirkwood and Kirkwood and Rogers, and it's been going on for I don't know, since 91, I think.
Okay.
Or 94 maybe. That's right. Law school was 91, 94, and we practice, and we do in Cumberland and in Kaiser, and we've kind of run independently. But I work also somewhat as a lawyer in condemnation cases also. So that keeps me in court a lot more than I normally would. Nobody wants to litigate. I like to litigate. I mean, I'm at the point now, when you get to be 60 some years old, you're like, come on, teach me something. I'm not afraid anymore. Everything that I feared could happen has already happened. So
well, if you're in your 60s, if you're in your 60s, I do want that medicine you're taking.
Oh wow! Thank you.
Yeah, I'm in my 60s. Well, I'm in my 60s too. But I look it.
Good.
But I look it.
Well, no, not so much. I think you look pretty good. Man,
yeah, thanks. Thank you. So you're into krautrock.
Big time. Yeah, I got that. I kind of discovered that sideways through Julian Cope. For some reason, I don't know if you know, but around sometime in the late 80s, early 90s, Julian Cope released a couple, right, 2 or 3 records in a row. Autogeddon. My favorite is Jehovah Kill, and the one before that was the big one that he had the singles on and stuff. I forget.
Citizen Cope.
No, but it was the big one. I forget the name of it, but it had the big hit with hanging up and hanging on the line. I mean, I saw him in DC on that tour, but I just think he had a renaissance, and that was real good. So I mean, he had referenced krautrock and references people. Of course, I knew through Bowie already about Noise. I had the Noise stuff. Boy, those records are worth a lot. It's great when you have as much vinyl as I do. It's just like they just keep going up and up and up, and I'm just sitting here, just waiting.
Great.
I guess it's going to burst at some point. That's what my wife says. My wife says all of us people interested in vinyl one day are going to. Well, she's afraid that's going to happen. But I've probably got no shit, Elliot. I probably got 7,000 records here. I'm crazy. I'm out of my mind.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I am. I'm one of those guys that goes on Whatnot at night and snatches the $5 deal. Which, by the way, I would recommend anybody. to check out VC vinyl. I don't know where these guys get that, but they are the modern day equivalents of cutouts that
Really?
we have. Thing, and for some reason, there's only one vendor I know anywhere that has sealed records at this discount rate. And I don't know if this guy is a closeout place, if they're somewhat, involved in something going on, but they sell for $10 regularly. And I was able recently, I'm not kidding, to get a plethora of really good sealed records, such as double 200 motels, $5 a piece.
Well,
I mean, if you should just, just to have that for trade later or something. But I have a buddy that I hip to that owns a record store in Kaiser. So I'm really into collecting, and I'm into getting, when I see these things go for $5, then maybe I'll try an old Tom Fogerty solo record from the '70s that I wouldn't have normally gotten. You can get it for $5.
There's one out there that's dismal. One of his Fogerty albums. I forgot
Really?
the title. Oh, it's scary. It's awful.
Well, I don't think, some of John's I don't think are great either, really.
Yeah, I know.
Eye of the Zombie, I think, is pretty yucky. I was really disappointed with it. I'm a Creedence, of course, Green River and all that stuff. Man.
Yeah.
That's dazzling, man. That's on fire. But
and Centerfield was a great album.
I thought it was good too. Yeah.
It was a good album. I did a couple of shows with Fogerty.
You did?
I did a tour with him where, my buddy Kenny Aronson is, Kenny Aronoff plays drums for him
he's
now.
Played with everybody, man. He's a powerhouse, dude. He's talking about a hard hitter, man. He is the king.
Kenny's a buddy of mine. He's with Fogerty now. He does all Fogerty's tours now. But I did a Fogerty Dylan tour, and I did a Fogerty Willie Nelson tour in the day.
Oh my God!
And so I saw him play once. He was awful. He was dreadful. Arthritis.
Oh my God!
And then I saw him a few years later, and he was back to Fogerty, which was really
that Howard Stern, man. That Howard Stern, the one on YouTube, is just stunning. I mean, you look at that; he's on fire. I mean, it's,
He had a couple of bad years with arthritis where he couldn't really play. But
was cracking it on that one, man. That was what a great drum performance, man. He was driving that right off the cliff, man. That was awesome.
But Kenny's a buddy of mine. Kenny has 2,000 gold and platinum albums in his office.
A little sign of success, I would think.
And the funny part is, Mellencamp fired him.
Yeah.
Before the first album. And Kenny said to him, I'm not leaving. He said, well, you're fired. I'm not paying you. He said, yeah. He said, I'm going to stick around till I learn your stuff and you hire me back. And that's how he stayed. He slept on Fogerty's Mellencamp's couch. He wouldn't leave. He wouldn't leave Indiana. He said, "Where the hell am I going to go now? I'm stuck in Indiana. I'm not leaving you. I came here to work with you, and I'm not leaving." So after the first album, Fogerty brought him back, and the rest, they say, is history. He did the little drum fill in Jack and Diane.
Yeah,
that kind of made him and Fogerty him and Mellencamp a star. So let's get back to your album. What are we doing?
Man. I'm sorry.
What are we
We're
doing?
Talking about other stuff. I'm sorry.
That's cool. This is what makes the podcast interesting. This is the stuff that. Yeah.
Thank you.
The album High Five.
Yes, sir.
Why High Five?
Because it's the fifth one, and it's just and it's also a pun on marijuana, and it's also a pun on what I think is the highest point that I've reached so far as being close to transmitting what I want, learning better what to do, as everybody does as they go along. You learn lessons and you try to make it better and better. Not that there's any target or anything that I'm out there trying to hit. It's just that I'm trying to accurately kind of represent what I'm saying and trying to present it in a way that can be understood. And I know sometimes that there are some distortions in places, and that's why that's presented that way. Because there is in my life, there's just everybody's life that I feel there's some things that come in and all of a sudden like an event that takes your total attention or your total, we go from concern to concern. So I think that was part of what I was thinking when when I was doing this, and this is the fifth record too. This is record number five. The
Right.
fourth one I made on vinyl. The first one I did a fiction is on CD. We're thinking about putting it on vinyl again someday. I've got a friend of mine that wanted to remix it, and I agreed a lot with what he sent me to remix it. It was actually pretty good. It was better than what the original was. So
Okay.
I just don't. It's like baby pictures, you know. After you're done with them, that was 1991 or whatever.
Right.
But it's different. I'll send you a CD along in the package with it.
Okay. Now, the album opens up with "How You Doing, My Friend," which is a great way to open an album.
Yep.
You kind of suck them in right from the start that they're here for a journey. They're here to sit down, take your shoes off, type thing. And
Yeah, well, I've always had a conversation, you know, kind of like that with I feel kind of the way that's been. This beginning of, I think the first line of the second verse says more than that. I've been trying to give you unfiltered stuff, and that's kind of what I meant. That's a better way to restate the first thing. I try to just say it plain away and don't try to allow anything to change or shape it other than what I want to do. You know, I don't
Right.
like to. I'm not trying to please anybody. What I'm trying to say. I guess.
Okay. Well, again, it's a very, very 70-ish sounding vibe on the album.
I can't help it, man. That's where I am.
Not there's a problem with that. That was it. That was the period, you know?
I think. I don't know. It's the period I was in. I can't do anything else. You know, you can only make what you do. And I substantial period of time of mine. It was in DC in the 80s, and we played in the 80s.
Right.
And the sounds of my band's the 80s. 10 Below was a replacemency sounding Husker Du-ish type of band. The Now was very much influenced by the ska stuff. We played a lot of music, fast white boy ska that was I don't know. It was okay to fun. You know, I got a broken left wrist because of it. It's a show down in Fredericksburg, you know, at Mary Washington, when drumstick slipped out of my hand. We were playing 100 miles an hour, and I went right on the freaking, you know, all that stuff. It just, I don't know. I got tired of playing drums, and so that's kind of why. I mean, I play drums on. Ironically, I have a drummers, and some of the reviews. One of the reviews you might have seen of this record indicated that, and I kind of want to set that straight about it, is that Steve Harrod played drums on 4 or 5 of the songs. That's not. I love Steve. Steve's a good friend of mine. Steve played percussion on a bunch of the songs. I played drum set on every song except the Ukrainian song, which my friend Bart Lay plays on. Bart Lay is doing a lot of the work on this new thing on drums because I'm trying to get away from that some, a little bit of variety. My 2 records ago, a record called One Day, Bart played drums on a bunch of songs, and they were a lot more impressionistic, I guess, or something, you know, like In the Water, songs like that were very jazzy, floating, and things. I'll send you all that stuff, man. You haven't heard that?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
There's a bunch of stuff here. I've been going for a while, man.
Yeah, we all have been. We're
That's right.
Yeah, it's we'd like to. You're probably a little younger than me, but I'm in my 60s too.
I'm 62.
Yeah,
62.
so yeah, I got a couple of years.
63. Be 63 in August.
Okay, no wonder you look so good. You
I
got
don't know.
I'm like almost 5 years older than you. So yeah, so now it all makes sense.
Yeah. We all went through the same place. That's right.
Yeah, so we spoke about Frog Eyes, which
yeah, that's just it was just a strange combination. And the end of that, you know, the end of that song has the seagulls flying away. And the problem is I have a centralized song to my second record, Wrong, called White Beach, that the seagulls fly away at the end of it. And it was the same exact thing. And so at the end, I had to put that little electronic yuck, yuck, yuck at the end. I'm trying to like imitate it synthetically. I was trying to synthetically quickly imitate it as kind of a joke on the way out, because I wanted to end some way other than the same way that the other song ended. It wasn't the same sample, but you know, it still was the same effect. So I'll have to send you that album too. That's my kids drew my covers, my last couple ones for this.
Okay.
Or last few.
So and this is all original material. And
yes, sir.
And it's mostly a solo effect. You did most of it yourself.
Yeah, I probably do 80-90% of it at least myself. I try to involve other people that want to be involved. But like I say in that last song, you know, but when there's work to be done, nobody wants to come. I mean, they want to come when it's fun. They want to come when it's easy, but it's hard when you're talking about writing And that's the experience I've had with people. I've had a lot of people that wanted to write, and they say they want to write, and I say, okay, we'll come by and write. And it never happens because for some reason people do not want to go there. I don't know why. They don't want to. They consider too private of a thing. So I'm kind of. That's why I've been like a non-collaborator for the most part, most of my life. Not that I'm opposed to it, but it's just that I've always found that especially like in the thing of drums, that I might not be technically as good as some other people, but I can play what I need to play
Right.
faster than I can teach somebody else, or they have the patience a lot of times, to do. So that's how a lot of that happens. So I'm trying to break out of that. Bart is a great drummer. I want Bart to play on drum on all my stuff. So we're doing it this time. And I'm also collaborating with a new friend of mine, not a new friend of mine, old friend of mine, Jay Stickley, who's going to provide a lot of the lyrical content for a lot of these new songs that we're doing. So
Okay.
anything's a new idea.
Yeah.
I've got all those records. That's
Yeah.
one reason. That's because I listen to music. I'm either listening or recording all the time, pretty much. I'm a dad a good bit of the time, and of course got my regular job, but that's what I do pretty much on the weekends. I'm sitting right here. Well, not here, but I mean I'm in the other room working, either
Yeah.
working or listening or checking it out. That's what it's about.
Have you been where you are? Have you been where you are for a long time?
I have been. I've been there. I've been here for when did I do that? 1984. So I got my law degree, I guess, in 94. So I guess I've been back here since about 95, 94,
Okay.
95.
But
I was living in Louisville, Kentucky before that.
But
you're
in this house for a long time?
Yeah, we built, well, I've been in this house probably about 12 or 13 years.
Because that must be a bitch moving that stuff.
It is. I haven't moved it. I've accumulated it all here, man. It's been,
okay.
I mean, I had probably 1,000 before, but I've accumulated the vast bulk of it because my friend owns a record store, because I have the temptation of getting first dibs because I can't control myself the same way,
Yeah.
the guy in the song Kensington can't control.
Yeah.
himself,
So I used to stop at Tower Records every night before I came home. And
wow.
When Tower was open, and
Big mistake, man.
I know, big mistake.
Fucking every classical department, the new music department. I mean, I didn't even go over there because as soon as I go over there, I'd see something I want. I mean,
yep,
they had it all.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yep. I know.
Crazy. Yeah, we went through the thing of selling all the LPs and getting the CDs and then regretting it all and buying them, rebuying them. Thank God we did before, the prices got too out of control. But I'm really exclusively vinyl. I mean, I listen to my new stuff as I'm doing it and mixing it and driving around the car, but that's the only real CDs I listen to. I will make compilations sometimes.
Sure. And now it's easy with Spotify. You could just do it right online.
I am a big Alan Holdsworth nut. I mean, I'm a nut. I'm a nut. Nuts.
Oh.
I consider him to be like John Coltrane. I mean, he is. I've watched that video of the scales and all the stuff and tried to figure out what he's doing. Try slowly figure out these. I'm nowhere near the guitar. I can't even conceive of somebody that can play. You ever listen to some? You want to listen to a track to blow your mind. If you really listen to it, Wardenclyffe Tower, the title song. If you get past that beginning part with all the cackling and all the stuff and the sound of that. Chad Wackerman just churns the thing like butter the whole time.
Right.
Gary Husband plays the keyboard first, and Holdsworth comes in at the end, man. And I think there's nothing more to be said. I mean, I really think that you're holding a funeral for me, that's the pinnacle, man. Where does it go from there? I mean, where does it go? I mean, he didn't go any further from that. That was it. I mean,
I was listening to his Soft Machine material just last week or the week before, and the Tony Williams stuff. The guy's just a monster.
Somebody has to do a documentary of the truth on it. He had some equal parts tragedy in his life, and the ending when he died, didn't even have enough money to accumulated, but he never gave a damn about money. I heard after the Tony Williams thing, it said that he sold his guitar, the guitar, played there to get back to England to play. Yeah. So that's crazy. I mean, he got stranded somewhere and had to sell the guitar. It's just some of those guys. I mean, to get that mythological status, and I think that's kind of in a way kind of the way that I took the choice that I took, and maybe the choice that you
Do
took.
you,
You take
yeah,
situation to provide. I provided for my family, and I was
well,
enjoying. I don't mind practicing law. I like
yeah,
doing it, but
yeah.
I truthfully, when I get home, man, I shut it off, and it's all music. I don't. And that's the problem, is it doesn't pay. There's too many people standing in line with their hands out before you get there. I mean,
Yeah,
like, you got to pay things to, or even around here. I mean, I did very good when we played around here. We would play on the weekends, and when I was young, and I was just a kid, we're playing crap music in a bar, but we would make $150, a night. And we do on the New Year's Eve jobs, we get like $500, $1,000 sometimes, to play the gigs, because they charge the big things and stuff. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I was doing mobile DJ
going.
gigs. I was doing mobile DJ gigs, getting 4 or 5 times what bands get paid now.
There you go, man.
You
That was
know?
that was the thing. That's where it went then.
Yeah,
That's where you have to go where the money goes, and that's it.
yeah,
You're crazy if you don't, or you hate the. You're not trying. I'm not trying to make the situation. I help people. I do. I do a lot of civil cases for people. I do people that have workers' compensation cases in Maryland is a big part of my practice. Social Security is a big part of my practice, and then I do the work for the state that my uncle did when we build roads and stuff. And I don't try to take a hard line approach any way it goes. You find out, you swim in the pool with these people, and you give them the best advice you can. You let them make the decision. They're the client. Sometimes you'll get somebody that'll just drive you crazy, but you'll do the same thing in the music business. You get somebody who steals all your money,
sure.
in the music thing. At least this way, when I'm at court and the insurance company pays the check over, that we get our fee, they get their money, and there's a certain modicum of control here
Yeah,
that I've done, and it's kind of the hard way. I mean, I could have got on been a government lawyer, and got a job where I get a paycheck and stuff, but I eat what I kill. That's the way it's always been. And
right.
but I'm done very well, and so I'm very fortunate. But I came from a good family. My mother's side, whole side of the family, were lawyers and had a legacy here in this small town. But they didn't do what I did. But nevertheless, it was a big thing here, and
Sure.
so I kind of came in town to straighten things out. I think that's what the song, speaking about the subject matter of the things, and it's really kind of a heavy thing to talk about. And I don't really want to talk a lot about it, but the song "Slow Boat Ride," that's about my mother. My mother, in this small town that we live here, tragically, both of her brothers committed suicide.
Well,
And in the course of that, I was about 12 years old, and I remember them going, "Pat, Pat, Pat, Byron shot himself." Da, da, da. I'm sitting up in bed. I'm like 12 years old, and it traumatized me, because I was just at a ball game. I just saw a Pirates game with him like 2 weeks before he'd taken me to Pittsburgh to a game, and Mom said he was despondent over some stuff. But my mother, in the aftermath of that, did not handle things well. I'm
right.
not going to get into the specifics of it, but she exacerbated the situation. And it was
Yeah,
almost that life gave it to her a second time. Well,
right.
you didn't get it the first time. Here you go.
Try again.
Second time. And the second time was a different situation. The second time, my uncle had having some treatment, and had and they kind of rushed him out of things. And so when that happened, it was a big tragedy. And so I can't help but say, and this is the truth, that part of the reason I'm here doing what I'm doing is because they fucked it up. My grandfather, their father, in a small town here, as much as I love him, did not handle things always good. He was the first of his era to do things. I'm very appreciative of the things that he did, but he wasn't very nice to my grandmother a lot of times, and had affairs and such, and
Yeah,
it really ruptured the family unnecessarily. And it's just like, he so there was a part of me. My mother was very proud of her family, and so a part of me felt like, well, not only here's an opportunity that there's a thing, but also here's a situation to set the record straight. And so that's what I've done. I don't have whatever gene that is, that depressive gene or whatever. I don't have that. I mean, I have an outlet in music to do what I do and
Yeah.
reflect it that way. But that's kind of what the song Slow Boat Ride is, that my mother has just coped, and my mother has been doing that a lot since my grandfather, was young, and she's older, and she learned a way to cope and a way to get by. And sometimes she wanders into things that like we all do,
That are,
that.
yeah, are perfect, you know.
And then the end, the third verse, I do the old flipperoo, and I'm talking about myself,
Right,
and
well,
that's because I'm genetically connected to the whole
yeah,
to the whole.
that's a heavy burden though.
Well, it is in a way, but it's only the burden that you accept. I mean, I understand that my mother's got what she is, and they're in a certain sense. She and my cousin John, probably, which was Gary's son, who was at Sunday school when he committed suicide and came down. He's a lawyer right next to me, who actually worked at the Department of Highways before I worked at the Department of Highways, but that's a long story. But he is there, and it's just, I don't know. It's just my mother is. I think they're the last of the breed. I think that when you look at the people, and I've had discussions with other people that know the family and stuff. And I can be very frustrating with it, but I don't. I try not to. But that's what
Okay.
that song is about. So I'm kind of covering the second song.
Okay.
Uh,
Well,
the the
we
third
were,
song.
yeah, well, we were talking about musicians who've had a tough go. Anton Fair,
Yeah.
the drummer.
Right.
He had that band, that superstar band, the Golden
Palominos.
Palominos.
Yeah. Yeah.
He, I guess about 6, 7 years ago, he was a Bill Laswell guy.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
anyway, he was in a lot of pain. He had no money, had nothing, and he got tired of bill collectors calling him, so he went to Sweden for assisted suicide. He said, "Look, I had enough. I had a decent life. It's not going to get any better. Let's call it a day." And he went, yeah. So it's
Man, I don't know how you do that. I've got so much more
I
to
know,
do that I want to do. I can't, I don't have an issue of writer's block or anything. I just need
yeah,
time to get it down. And half of it might suck, but I'm
yeah, yeah. He
trying to
said,
balance things.
yeah, but he was
That's
like,
terrible. I'm so sorry for that, for him.
yeah,
So sorry for that. But
yeah,
that's what happened, but that's what happened to him. It's terrible. It's
yeah.
terrible.
I mean, musicians are, I think
Yeah,
they're more
Frank, of
important. I think they're more important than ball players, and ball players walk away with millions.
course they do. Of course
Yeah,
they do.
you know.
Ridiculous. It is. It's ridiculous what happened. It just, I don't understand how we got here, but
I know. So another thing that we've gotten to, it doesn't matter how good a musician you are anymore. You have to be a better social media manipulator. How are you on social media?
not at all. Zero.
Okay.
Not interested. I put out the number of records to put my pebble down
Uh,
and do that. I don't know what happened. Something also, it's not that I'm really not trying to make any kind of a commercial thing, because I'm a realistic looker at the market. I'm 62 years old. I'm trying just for a few people that are interested in it, that's good. I want to do that, but I'm not, to maximize that. That's one thing maybe, but I'm not. That's kind of what the first song, whether you get me, kind of relates to that. I had a friend here. I'm not going to talk about his name, but I had a friend here who was a former record store owner, who had essentially told me that if I did something in a certain vein of one of my songs, it's called "And When They Ask You" was the name of the song. It was off of one of the records, I think the third record, the One Day. But he said that he would make me think that, and I'm just like, no, I'm not. You don't understand, man. I don't want to spend. I don't want to lose more money, and I don't know anybody that hasn't. So I mean, if you're great or you're super, got something super going on, that's one thing. But I just try to do the best that I possibly can, learn as much as I can, and put it out for the few people like it. I mean, I'm present in my records are present in DC area, in Baltimore, in Philadelphia, in some parts of Jersey and New York, just a couple, and then in Pittsburgh, and that's about it. We're locally here, and that's 250 is not a lot. You send a few out for review for a handful,
Promo,
25 or 25 or 30 or 40 or so, and it's all gone, man. So that's that happens. It doesn't take much. So, and that's low expectation. So, and I don't tend to get anything back from it. It's just something that is one day I'll put together a band here and do something. I mean, I know some guys that would play, and they're always urging me to try to play, but I just saw the sax player the other night at the Vital Information show in Cumberland, and he was raving about that song Sky King of Georgetown. I'm just like, man, that's pretty crazy stuff. I mean, that's kind of one of the weirdest things that I've done time wise and loop wise stuff, but really to try to kind of a horror show, the steps, the extra steps and such. That's a big plot in it. So, I mean, I lived there for years, managed stores there for years, and was there, in the off hours and such. It's a pretty spiritual place,
What's going on with gear? What are you using for your gear now? Any, for your studio stuff?
Well, the studio stuff, I'm basically just using my normal. I mean, I have an iMac and the the digital machine thing I have is not pro. I forget the name of the damn thing. Let me see it here. Let me grab this here.
Not GarageBand.
No, man, I'll show you here. Let me show you. It's not GarageBand. It's one that they sold me at Sweetwater years ago, and I've been using. I can't believe I don't know the damn name of it. Studio One.
Okay.
Studio One. Yeah, I'm looking at a song now. In fact, that song I was telling you, the name of the song is Craft, CRAFT, Rec, WRECK. So I'm trying to, but just for now.
Yeah,
it's
kind of like
not going to stay there.
Yeah, like craft work, huh?
Well, well, he was a friend of mine, Craig. Craig actually said that my friend, that's part of one of the stories in the thing that's how he mispronounced the name of the band. It's not actually about the band, it's actually more about Craig.
Okay, cool.
Craig's a trip. But I'll send you that about him. Yeah, he's doing film down in Baltimore. He actually did film for Helios Creed and did a video for Chester Thompson's new band or latest band.
Oh, really?
He did a video for them in Baltimore, which surprised me. I didn't know Chester was still active when he told me that. But I'm trying to get him roped into this thing. We'll see. I'm going to work a little bit on it with Jay and see where we get with it, and then see if I can get to him the video aspect of it.
That's pretty cool.
Maybe a book too. Yeah, because there's so many stories. The reason my friend Jay, I got him roped into it because he is very knowledgeable, knows every damn thing about everybody. He knows everything about everybody in Kaiser. So he's probably not the best technical player, but that's not what it's about. It's about trying to get, he can play well enough, and then we can do it over and over until he does it right. I'm not playing live.
It's about a feel.
Right. I just want his spirit on it. That was the same thing with Steve and with Bart and the people. That's why I want to bring Bart in, bring Richard in and stuff. But yeah, it's just interesting to try to slowly bring people into the fold, and we'll see where we go with that. So
it's pretty cool.